All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I am VC Pramod and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11 a.m. today. President Ramnath Kovind to launch various development projects in Ayodhya and inaugurate Ramayan Conclave this afternoon. Corona vaccination coverage in the country crosses the 63 crore mark. Kerala to impose night curfew from tomorrow following sharp rise in COVID cases. Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur to launch Fit India mobile app today. India's FDI inflows almost doubled during first quarter of current fiscal compared to last year. US President warns of another terror attack at Kabul airport. Pentagon says US drone strike killed 2 high-profile ISIS targets in Afghanistan. India's Bhavina Patel bags silver medal at the Tokyo Paralympics. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is going on, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also help others get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio at 11 a.m. today. It will be the 80th episode of the monthly radio program. It will be broadcast on the entire network of AIR and Doordarshan and also on AIR News website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR mobile app. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of AIR, DD News, PMO and Information and Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. The regional language versions will be repeated at 8 in the evening. Prime Minister Narendra Modi dedicated to the nation the renovated complex of the Jallianwala Bagh Smarak at Amritsar in Punjab last evening through video conferencing. He also inaugurated museum galleries developed at the Smarak. The event also showcased the multiple development initiatives taken by the government to upgrade the complex. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Modi saluted the holy land of Punjab and paid homage to all those who lost their lives in the cruel incident of Jallianwala Bagh. He said Jallianwala Bagh is the place which gave courage to countless revolutionaries like Sardar Udham Singh and Sardar Bhagat Singh to die for the freedom of India.
Jallianwala Bagh वो स्थान है जिसने सरदार उधम सिंह, सरदार भगत सिंह जैसे अनगिनत क्रांतिवीरों, बलिदानियों, सेनानियों को हिंदुस्तान की आजादी के लिए मर मिटने का हौसला दिया। 13 अप्रैल 1919 के वो 10 मिनट हमारी आजादी की लड़ाई की वो सत्य गाथा, चीर गाथा बन गए, जिसके कारण आज हम आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव मना पा रहे हैं.
The Prime Minister said it is because of such freedom fighters that we are today privileged to celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. He said today we remember all those innocent boys and girls, those sisters, those brothers whose dreams are still visible in the bullet marks on the walls of Jallianwala Bagh. Mr. Modi said Gurbani teaches us that we will be happy when we feel each other's problems along with our own troubles.
गुरुबानी हमें सिखाती है सुखो होवे सेव कमानिया, अर्थात सुख दूसरों की सेवा से ही आता है. हम सुखी तभी होते हैं जब हम अपने साथ साथ अपनों की पीड़ा को भी अनुभव करते हैं. इसलिए आज दुनिया भर में कहीं भी कोई भी भारतीय अगर संकट में गिरता है तो भारत पूरे सामर्थ्य से उसकी मदद के लिए खड़ा हो जाता है.
The Prime Minister said, be it the Corona period or the crisis in Afghanistan, the world has experienced it continuously. He said, under Operation Devi Shakti, we are bringing back our brothers and sisters from Afghanistan.
President Ramnath Kovind will visit Ayodhya today. Mr. Kovind will travel from Lucknow to Ayodhya by special presidential train. He is on a 4-day visit to Uttar Pradesh. Mr. Kovind will launch many development projects for Ayodhya and inaugurate the Ramayan Conclave. Governor Anandiben Patel and Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath will be present on the occasion. Our correspondent has filed this report.
President Ramnath Kovind will become the first Indian president to visit Ayodhya when he reaches the temple town on a special train this afternoon to offer prayers at the Ram Janmabhoomi. The president is also likely to offer prayers at the Hanuman Gadhi temple and witness the ongoing construction work of Ram Mandir. He will inaugurate the Ramayana Conclave, which will start from today and will continue till 1st November this year in different parts of the state. The conclave will be organized in Gorakhpur, Balia, Varanasi, Vindhyachal, Chitrakoot, Lalitpur, Shringaverpur, Bithur, Bijnor, Bareilly, Ghaziabad, Mathura, Garhmukteshwar, Saharanpur and Lucknow also. Ramayana Conclave will have special experts and Kathavachaks who will narrate and discuss the various events of the Holy Ramayana. Many cultural programs in different dialects will also be organized during the conclave in evening. Mr. Kovind will also launch various development projects including renovation of Tulsi Smarak Bhavan and development of Nagar Bus Stand and Ayodhya Dham. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Ayodhya.
In a significant achievement, India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has crossed 63 crore mark. The cumulative figure stands at 63 crore 67,629. More than 48 crore 53 lakh vaccine doses have been administered as first dose and over 14 crore 46 lakh vaccine doses given as second dose so far. Union Health Ministry said that over 65 lakh vaccine doses were administered yesterday. The new phase of universalization of COVID-19 vaccination commenced from 21st of June this year. The vaccination exercise as a tool to protect the most vulnerable population groups in the country from COVID-19 continues to be regularly reviewed and monitored at the highest level.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah has asked to complete the 100% vaccination target of the first dose by 30th September in Ahmedabad city and district. He was addressing the District Infrastructure Scheme Advisory Committee Disha held at Ahmedabad last evening. Mr. Shah has also reviewed the various ongoing projects and schemes in his parliamentary constituency during the meeting. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
Union Home and Cooperative Minister Amit Shah has reviewed the progress of vaccination drive in Ahmedabad city and district and asked to speed up the campaign. He also appealed to plan for 100% target achievement in providing Ayushman card in Ahmedabad under Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Mr. Shah also called to make Ahmedabad a model district by providing property cards to the landowners in rural areas under the Swamitva scheme launched by the Prime Minister. He also stressed on organic farming and appealed to encourage the farmers to adopt organic farming. He also called to set up model farms in each taluka and arrange visits of farmers to such model farms. Mr. Shah also called for organizing camps for providing benefits of various public welfare schemes to the people. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
Amid sharp rise in corona cases in Kerala, Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan announced that night curfew will be imposed in the state from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. from tomorrow. The decision comes 2 days after the centre suggested that the state government should explore the possibility of enforcing night curfew in areas of high positivity. The state yesterday reported 31,265 fresh cases of coronavirus, while 153 patients succumbed to the infection in the last 24 hours. More from our correspondent.
A review meeting chaired by Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan decides to impose night curfew from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. in the state from tomorrow. Further, complete lockdown will be imposed in the state on all Sundays with stringent restrictions. Restrictions similar to triple lockdown will be in place today. Only essential service will be allowed to function. Mr. Vijayan further informed that government would impose lockdown in localities where the average weekly infection population ratio is above 7. Chief Minister had called a high-level meeting of virologists, public health experts and administrators on September 1st to decide the future roadmap for COVID-19 mitigation. Chief Minister also said that as the possibility of an imminent third wave is still there, the state is making all necessary preparations to face it. Meanwhile, presently over 204,000 active COVID cases are there in Kerala. Mayusha for AIR News from Thiruvananthapuram.
Measures taken by the government on the fronts of foreign direct investment policy reforms, investment facilitation and ease of doing business have resulted in increased FDI inflow into the country. India has attracted total FDI inflow of $22.53 billion during April to June this year, which is 90% higher as compared to the first 3 months of 2020-21, which was $11.84 billion. FDI equity inflow grew by 168% in the first 3 months of financial year 2021-22, which is $17.57 billion compared to the year ago period, which was $6.56 billion. Commerce and Industry Ministry said automobile industry has emerged as a top sector during the first 3 months of financial year 2021-22 with 27% share of the total FDI equity inflow, followed by computer software and hardware 17% and services sector 11%.
Unique Identification Authority of India, UIDAI, has said that all its services are stable and functioning fine. While responding to media reports on the so-called UIDAI system outages in linking Aadhaar with PAN or EPFO, UIDAI said that such media reports are not accurate. It said there have been no outages in its Aadhaar, PAN or EPFO linking facility, which is an authentication-based facility. Power Secretary Alok Kumar took a meeting on Friday with Central Electricity Authority and Ministry of Coal to review the coal supply position considering the situation of low coal stocks in certain power plants. It was decided to constitute a core management team comprising representatives from Ministry of Power, Central Electricity Authority and Coal India Limited to ensure daily monitoring. The power plants have been intimated to send their requests for priority loading and coal supply issues at a centralized email, fmdivcea@gov.in, so as to enable taking up the matter with the concerned authorities.
U.S. President Joe Biden has warned that there is a high chance of another terror attack at Kabul airport in the next 24 to 36 hours. In a statement, Biden said that the situation on the ground continues to be extremely dangerous and the threat of terrorist attacks on the airport remains high. He said that military commanders have told him it could come as early as today. About 170 people died after a suicide bomber targeted the airport on Thursday as crowds of Afghans were trying to get on evacuation flights. The ISK group had claimed the attack. In retaliation, the U.S. carried out a drone strike on eastern Afghanistan and killed 2 high-profile members of the Islamic State Khorasan group. The U.S. military launched a drone strike at ISISK in retaliation for the deadly bombing at the Kabul airport. Pentagon announced that the drone strike by U.S. military targeted an ISISK planner of Kabul blast. This is the first American attack on the terrorist group following Thursday's bomb attack at Kabul airport. Just before the Pentagon announced the strike, the State Department issued a fresh alert telling Americans at 4 Kabul airport gates to leave immediately. Earlier, Pentagon warned of specific credible terrorist threats from ISISK to U.S. troops and civilians fleeing Afghanistan after Thursday's devastating Kabul airport attack.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar spoke to U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken yesterday. In a tweet, Dr. Jaishankar said both continued their discussions on Afghanistan and also exchanged views on the agenda of the UNSC.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11 a.m. today. President Ramnath Kovind to launch various development projects in Ayodhya and inaugurate Ramayan Conclave this afternoon. Corona vaccination coverage in the country crosses 63 crore mark. Kerala to impose night curfew from tomorrow following sharp rise in COVID cases. Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur to launch Fit India mobile apps today. India's FDI inflows almost doubled during the first quarter of current fiscal compared to last year. U.S. President warns of another terror attack at Kabul airport. Pentagon says U.S. drone strike killed 2 high-profile ISIS targets in Afghanistan. And India's Bhavina Patel bags silver medal at Tokyo Paralympics. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे।
के स्वतंत्रता संग्राम में अनगिनत स्वतंत्रता सेनानियों ने अपने प्राणों की आहुति दी। कुछ इतिहास में अमर हो गए और कई गुमनाम। आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के अंतर्गत 75 कड़ियों की श्रृंखला में हम उन वीरांगनाओं की बात करेंगे जिनका योगदान कभी भुलाया नहीं जा सकता। प्रत्येक मंगलवार परिक्रमा में सुनिए अपराजिता, देश की वीरांगनाओं को आकाशवाणी का सादर नमन।
To celebrate the second anniversary of Fit India movement and as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur will launch the Fit India mobile application today. The launch will take place at Delhi's Major Dhyan Chand National Stadium, where he will be joined by Minister of State for Youth Affairs and Sports Nishit Pramanik. The ministers will virtually connect with Indian hockey team captain Manpreet Singh, wrestler Sangram Singh, Ayaz Memon, Captain Annie Divya, a school student and a housewife, who in turn will demonstrate by using the Fit India app after the launch. The Fit India app will be available on both the Android and the iOS platforms and has been developed keeping in mind that it works even on basic smartphones. One can watch the launch ceremony live on Fit India's Facebook page and download the app for free from the Google Play Store or Apple App Store from today onwards. Today is National Sports Day. The day is celebrated on the 29th of August every year to commemorate the birth anniversary of legendary hockey player Major Dhyan Chand. On the 6th of this month, the government had announced that India's highest sporting honour, Khel Ratna Award, has been named as Major Dhyan Chand Khel Ratna Award in the honour of the hockey wizard.
India's Bhavina Patel has settled for silver medal in the table tennis event at Tokyo Paralympics. Bhavina lost to China's Ying Zhou in the final this morning. She had entered the final beating China Zhang Miao in a closely contested semi-final match yesterday. Bhavina scripted history by becoming the first Indian table tennis player to enter the final in the Paralympics.
President, Vice President and Prime Minister have congratulated Bhavina Patel on winning the silver medal in the table tennis at the Tokyo Paralympics. President Ramnath Kovind said Bhavina Patel inspires the Indian contingent and sports lovers winning silver at the Paralympics. Mr. Kovind said her extraordinary determination and skills have brought glory to India. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, the entire nation is proud of her remarkable accomplishment. Mr. Naidu conveyed best wishes for her future endeavours. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said the remarkable Bhavina Patel has scripted history as she brings home a historic silver medal. Mr. Modi said her life journey is motivating and will also draw more youngsters towards sports.
Information and Broadcasting Ministry is celebrating Iconic Week from 23rd to 29th of this month as part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Today, All India Radio will broadcast Azadi Ka Safar Akashwani ke saath in both English and Hindi. Imprint book review in Hindi dedicated to freedom fighters or art or culture will be broadcast in Parikrama at 4:45 p.m. It is also organizing regional Amrit Mahotsav quiz. Doordarshan will telecast Azadi Ka Safar and Saga of Freedom Struggle program tomorrow morning. It will also telecast a special program on Ek Bharat, Shreshtha Bharat. Doordarshan will telecast patriotic feature film this evening on its national channel. Press Information Bureau is organizing webinars today on freedom struggle in Bhubaneswar, Dehradun and Ahmedabad. Bureau of Outreach and Communication is organizing outreach programs today in Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Bhubaneswar, Chandigarh, Guwahati, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Pune and Ranchi. There will be 100 programs by Song and Drama Division across the country today.
As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events is being organized by the government as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar every day with All India Radio from Monday the 16th of August. As part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, News Services Division of All India Radio brings to you the story of glorious struggle and sacrifices of freedom fighters on 100.1 FM Gold channel in the English news bulletins at 8:30 a.m., 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. Stay tuned.
Now let's listen to our special program, Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News.
आजादी का अमृत महोत्सव।
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
Today is the death anniversary of renowned freedom fighter and revolutionary poet Qazi Nazrul Islam. The versatile genius fought the British through his creative writings. Nazrul's opposition to the British rule started when he served in the British Army during World War I in the old Bengali 49th Regiment based in Karachi. It was in Karachi where he came under the influence of the Bolshevik Revolution. After the war, Nazrul returned to his native Bengal, determined to write and rally against foreign rule. Within a few years, he was influenced by the non-cooperation movement and became aware of the plight of millions of Indians.
The poverty and misery of the Indians would become an important part of his artistic consciousness and poetic art. Agnibina, a collection of Nazrul's famous poems from this period, are full of his newly awakened political consciousness. One poem from Agnibina is Bidrohi.
ফিরে হরিয়ামারি নত শিরই শিখরে মাতৃ বলবীর বল মহাবিশ্বের মহাকাশ ফাড়ি চন্দ্র সূর্য গ্রহ তারা ছাড়ি ভুলোক দুলোক গোলোক ভেদিয়া খোদার আসন আরশ ছেদিয়া উঠিয়াছি চির বিস্ময় আমি বিশ্ববিধাত্রী.
Similarly, the Khilafat agitation made him realize the necessity and imperatives of a Hindu-Muslim brotherhood that would rise against the British. In November of 1922, Qazi Nazrul Islam was arrested in Calcutta, accused of sedition by the British government. In response to his sedition charge, Nazrul shocked the British by representing himself in court. Nazrul Islam worked for All India Radio, Kolkata. He acted in several films and wrote numerous songs. Nazrul Giti is a genre of his Bengali songs.
Qazi Nazrul Islam breathed his last on August 29, 1976 in Dhaka. In accordance with his wish, which he had expressed in one of his poems, he was buried beside the central mosque of the Dhaka University.
The death anniversary of a great freedom fighter, Haipo Jadonang from Manipur, also falls on this day. He fought valiantly against the British rule. The spiritual leader and political activist's quest for freedom brought him in direct conflict with the British. Jadonang was a staunch critic of the British rule and the changes happening in the region marked by injustices, labor, exploitation and taxation. His movement for the establishment of a Naga state was spearheaded in the North Kachar Hills, Manipur and the Naga Hills. He mobilized people and many Naga tribes against the British. He urged his followers to stop paying taxes to the British administration. Jadonang was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi and composed a song in his honor. Jadonang was hanged on the banks of Nambul River in Imphal on August 29, 1931. His legacy was carried forward by his cousin and well-known freedom fighter, Rani Gaidenliu, who spent 14 years in jail for India's independence. The great son of the soil may not be with us today, but Haipo Jadonang's legacy of waging a fight against the British to do away with injustices and oppression continues to live on.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in next episode tomorrow.
To commemorate the occasion, as a Jan Utsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The quiz is being conducted every Monday and Tuesday in Morning News and will continue till the 15th of August 2022. India Post has joined hands as the logistics partner with All India Radio News for the Amrit Mahotsav quiz. Listeners can send their responses to the question over WhatsApp on 88265 46262 or through email on amritmahotsavquiz@gmail.com. One participant will be selected as a winner and will be announced in the next day's morning news. Winner will be awarded an e-certificate and a token prize. The next question of Amrit Mahotsav Quiz will be shared with the listeners tomorrow. Celebrate 75 years of India's independence by participating in the Amrit Mahotsav Quiz with AIR News. Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi is likely to have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. It recorded 26 degrees Celsius as minimum temperature and maximum is likely to be 34 degrees. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius while the maximum is expected to be 32 degrees. Chennai is expected to have thunderstorm with rain. The temperature will rise from a minimum of 24 degrees Celsius to a maximum of around 34 degrees. Kolkata will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain. The city noted 26 degrees Celsius as minimum temperature while maximum to be around 33 degrees. Hyderabad to have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Minimum temperature was 24 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 29 degrees. Ahmedabad will have generally cloudy sky. The minimum temperature was to be 27 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be nearly 36 degrees. Guwahati will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The lower limit of temperature was around 28 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 35 degrees. Imphal will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The city registered a minimum temperature of 21 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 30 degrees. Shillong will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The temperature will hover between 17 and 26 degrees Celsius. Aizawl will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Minimum temperature was 20 degrees while maximum will be around 29 degrees. Kohima will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The temperature will vary between 18 and 27 degrees Celsius.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. US strikes IS planners after AF airport attack is a lead in the Hindustan Times. US strike kills 2 ISK planners of Kabul bombing. Biden warns of fresh threats, says the Times of India. The story says that Kabul plotter killed in airstrike and US authorities claim 14 ISIS associates also eliminated in Nangarhar. Jan Dhan scheme transform India's development. PM is lead story in the Financial Express and almost all dailies have covered this story. 43.04 crore accounts opened with deposits of over 1.46 lakh crore, says Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. 1 Covaxin dose as same response as 2 in COVID cured is also the front page story in all dailies. The papers add that the first dose elicits a similar antibody response as obtained with 2 doses. Monsoon revival likely over next few days, says IMD, is on the front page of almost all dailies, informing that a low pressure area has formed over the Bay of Bengal and will result in a monsoon revival over West and Northwest India.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to share his thoughts in Mann Ki Baat program at 11 a.m. today. President Ramnath Kovind to launch various development projects in Ayodhya and inaugurate Ramayan Conclave this afternoon. Corona vaccination coverage in the country crosses the 63 crore mark. Kerala to impose night curfew from tomorrow following sharp rise in COVID cases. Youth Affairs and Sports Minister Anurag Singh Thakur to launch Fit India mobile app today. India's FDI inflows almost doubled during the first quarter of current fiscal compared to last year. US President warns of another terror attack at Kabul airport. Pentagon says US drone strike killed 2 high-profile ISIS targets in Afghanistan. India's Bhavina Patel bags silver medal at the Tokyo Paralympics. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.